I don't know if you're getting as excited as I am, or maybe it's just me. But here's where I'm coming from in this whole equation. First and foremost, yes, I've cussed a little bit, so in advance, let me tell you, I'm sorry. Okay, so if my cussing kind of hurt your feelings, I'm very sorry about that. I know it's not professional, and I will try to go ahead and watch that. Now, that being said, this is the most hands down important part of the entire thing. Okay? This is not the time you want to cancel and say, that's okay, I don't want to go ahead and watch the rest of this, because this is what's going to make or break you. Okay? Now we're going to talk about the listing presentation, or the presentation portion of your wholesaling business. This is where the rubber meets the road, where the seller's ready to sell, you're ready to buy, bam, you're face to face with the live one, nose to nose. So now, this is where all the parts have come in. You've managed your time. You've prospected. You've managed to go out and get some lead generation, some marketing materials out there. They've called you up. You've lead followed up. You've gone ahead and made sure, in fact, that they are, in fact, the homeowner. It's not a neighbor playing a crazy joke on you or something like that. You've qualified them a little bit. You know that they're willing to sell. You know why they're going to sell. You know what happens if they don't sell. Now is the time when you're going to put all the pieces together and make your dreams happen. Okay? This is the time, the most important time. Now, let's talk about what it's going to take to win. Okay? You got to start this with a couple understandings. The first understanding is, in a fast rising market, people are going to ask for other opinions. Okay? If you're an agent, you know this to be true. If you're not an agent, welcome to the Thunderdome, because that's exactly what happens. When a fast moving market happens, I remember back when the market was going nuts, everybody was going out getting multiple opinions, lots of agents, etc., etc., etc. They call everybody. Okay? So, if you're a wholesaler, and let's say you decide to do bandit signs, and bandit signs are illegal, okay, so don't do them. The thing is that if you decide to do bandit signs, all right, let's just pretend that if you're the only voice speaking, the only person they can reach, then your voice is the only one that counts. So if you're using just one sign with one number, one message, chances are you're only appealing to that one person who sees it at that one time. And if they're calling you, chances are they're calling your competitor. All right, if they're calling your competitor, you've been there, and it's going to get worse. All right, as this market increases, other investors, you're already starting to see things like hedge funds have been in this for a while. Home investors are starting to come out with more franchises. All these types of branded things, whatever the heck it is that people are doing, they're getting a lot more marketing out there because they recognize that the market is starting to speed up. Okay, and as the market speeds up, you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. You're going to have to be a little bit faster. You're going to have to be a little bit better than everybody else. So it all starts with presentation. When you become a master presenter, that's when you're going to get paid. Now think about it this way. Okay, Tiger Woods, let's say, goes out, plays, I don't know, a dozen games. I don't know how much, I'm not that great at golf, but let's just assume. And you get another guy who plays the same amount of games. All right, one is a champion, one's not. Why is it a champion? Is it because they're talent? Yeah, probably. Is it practice? Of course. Is it skill sets? Yes, of course. But primarily, they have the same amount of energy expended, but at the moment when it counts, they're able to close the deal. Why? Because they put all the pieces together. Understand, from the very moment your client calls you, your customer, I should say your customer, not your client, because they're not your client. Your customer calls you from your bandit sign. If it's handwritten, they're going to have a certain expectation about you. Okay, that's just the way it is. If it's pre-printed, all right, then they'll have a certain expectation. When you appear to the door, they're going to have a certain expectation. When they see you, they'll have a certain expectation. When they look at your car, the firmness of your handshake, the shine on your shoes, the haircut that you have, the facial hair that you have, your breath, all of the pieces have to be congruent. They have to be in alignment. Because if they're in alignment, then there's no questions. But when there's any kind of dissonance, that's what dissonance is the difference between what they expect versus what they see. Dissonance. When there's dissonance, that's when they start having questions and problems, and that's when your presentation breaks down. So right from the very beginning, the most important thing I could tell you It doesn't matter what kind of car you have. You don't have to drive a fancy car, but you have to have a clean car, because a clean car, if you're driving up to somebody's house, you're going to say you're going to buy it for all cash and you can't afford a simple car wash. You can't discipline yourself to cut your hair or cut your nails or press your clothes or shine your shoes. You don't have enough discipline to do that. As a homeowner, many people are trusting you with the single greatest thing they will ever have. Think about it from their position. If they're calling you as a wholesaler, they know they're not going to get full price. They've ignored calling realtors. They've ignored going down the street to the realty office. They've decided to call a handwritten sign. So their motivation or something is pretty big. And you come in there, you want to make sure you have every single opportunity. Because think about it. You have, the way I see it, let's say your average deal makes you anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. Okay? So let's pretend that, for the sake of argument, it's $5,000. Okay? You've got 30 minutes. That's about as long as your appointment's going to take. You're in, you're looking around, you're talking to them, you're building some rapport. You want to be respectful of their time. You don't want to be there forever. Otherwise, you're an agent. You know, agents do that. Agents stay for hours on end, right? So as a wholesaler, you're only going to be there for 30 minutes. All right? So you got 30 minutes to make $5,000. That's the way I see it. So if I've got 30 minutes to convince you that you need to give me your house so I can sell it, or at least buy it, or whatever it is I'm choosing to do with it, you need to feel comfortable with me. And I've got one shot. First impressions are huge. So you want to align everything you do towards that end, to where you have perfect congruity. All right? Now, that's number one. Perfect congruity. Everything has to eat, speak, and be what you want them to perceive you to be. So if you come in there in jeans and flip-flops and shorts, they're going to have a perception. You come in with a suit in a trailer, they're going to have a perception. So understand that your message has to be congruent with your market. Okay? I would never walk into a trailer in a three-piece suit, nor would I ever walk into a $1 million listing with shorts and flip-flops. Okay? Congruency. All right. Number two, the second thing you understand about presentation is that in this moment is when they have the highest confidence in you. And everything that happens subsequent to this is what's going to determine their experience with you. So you want to make sure that all your materials are organized. If you're going to use a folder and you have comps or whatever that you're going to use to demonstrate your point, your contracts, whatever, don't have coffee stains and cigarette ashes all over your crap. Go in there looking professional. You're running a business. Look the part. Okay? People expect certain things. And they expect, in a fast-rising market, service. And if you don't give them service, then they'll call the bandit sign down the street and get service from them. Okay? That's just the reality. The other thing about presentations I think it's important to understand is it doesn't necessarily matter what you say so long as it's powerful. And the question is, well, what's powerful? Well, some people, myself included, believe in sort of a canned script. Everybody uses a canned script of some kind. You always say the same things. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, glad to meet you. Wow, you play golf? I play golf. Oh, I love dogs too. You love dogs. That's your script. That's your canned script. And that may or may not be powerful for you, depending on your results. Back to Tiger Woods. One guy with his presentation gets a lot of stuff. You got one guy with a terrible can gets very little stuff. Okay? Tiger Woods hits the ball the same way every time. Okay? If he makes a mistake, he knows it immediately. Why? Because it's deviated from the process. When everything is treated like a process, a system, this is a listing system or a sales system, a system of wholesaling system. The system, it doesn't have to be computerized to be a system. It's a routine. It's a practice. So what I would recommend is to get yourself in congruity, then make sure your materials are all okay, and then start thinking about some of the words that you want to say to this person, to convey how motivated you are. Because it doesn't really matter how great your skills are. If their motivation is high, you could be a head of lettuce to get a deal done. Believe me, I've talked to a lot of you know, and it's shocking, and you're shocked just as much as I am, that you've actually got that deal through. You're like, holy cow, I can't believe if they actually knew how dumb I really was, they might not pay me. You know, the fact is, some people, no matter how high their motivation is, you be a head of lettuce and you get the deal done. But the reality is that the greater your chances of saying something meaningful, the greater your chances are that you're going to get the deal done. So what are some of the things you want to say? Okay? Well, first and foremost, what I would recognize is that everything has to deal with the problem. Okay? On your presentation, if I'm with you, you come to Tucson, we hang out, whatever it is, we're running around doing marketing, I'm showing you how to do the things I'm doing, whatever it is, or you're hanging out with somebody, you break your leg. You know, you go to the emergency room, the doctor doesn't come in and say, oh, wow, that's a great set of shoes you got there. Hey, I like that tie. By the way, what do you think about CSI this year? They don't care about that. You're in pain. You're like, ah, just give me some morphine, right? The fact is they want their pain relieved. So everything you say has to be focused around the pain. What happens if they don't sell? That's why it's important to pre-qualify. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you told me over the phone that you're going to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama at the end of the month. Is that correct? You know, ask questions. Well, yes, it is. It's all all conversational. Okay? So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you said you needed to move by such and such time, right? Yeah. And you said if you didn't sell, X happens, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's not fun. Okay, well, that's cool. I understand. And you said on the phone, XYZ, that you would take, you owe, this is what you think you'd take, right? Uh-huh. Now your presentation begins. Because in this lead-in step, if you will, you're just confirming information. What you want to do is write down the following word, L, lead-in, okay? You're building rapport. You're talking with them. You're confirming what you heard on the phone. Next step, investigate, okay? L-I. Next word, investigate. Investigate the house. Take a look around. See what's wrong. See if there's problems. You don't have to know everything. Remember the camel technique. You're just sticking the nose in just so you can sniff around a little bit, see if there's anything crazy going to jump out. Okay? Investigate. Make sure you understand everything thoroughly when it comes to their motivation. You don't have to use it, but understand where they're coming from intuitively. Because later, it'll come into factor. You know, later on when there's problems, if you need to remotivate them for some reason, read, I don't want to sell it at this price, you know, whatever, then you can take that motivation back out and say, well, wait a minute, you said this was what was going to happen if you didn't do this. Is that really what you want? And they're like, oh yeah, that's right. Everybody else just says, where are you moving? I'm going to Tuscaloosa. 20 minutes later, you're talking price. And they're like, oh, to hell with it. We don't want to move to Tuscaloosa. And then you're frustrated. You're like, oh, man, I just wasted my time. When if you just ask the question in the pre-qualification step, what happens if you don't sell? Fast forward 20 minutes later, they're giving you trouble about price. Well, that's okay. We'll just keep it. Well, Mr. Seller, you told me 20 minutes ago that if you don't sell it, you're going to lose it because of this or that. Kind of hard for them to lie now, isn't it? It's all about motivation and presentation skills. It comes with time. You have to go on a lot of presentations to be able to read people. The good news is if you're over 30-something years old, chances are you've had a couple interactions with people and you know how to interact with people. Okay? That helps you. All right? Plus business contacts you've had in the past. That helps you too. Now, next, show and sell. S. Show and sell. Show them the comps. Show them exactly what the reality is. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you said you wanted X. And I can appreciate that if you don't get X, then this is what's going to happen. And I get it, and it sucks, and I understand. Okay? But here's the reality. Blah, 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 blah. This is showing them. A picture is worth 1,000 what? Picture's worth 1,000? No, it's not worth $1,000. It's worth, it's not worth 1,000 pictures. 1,000 words. I screwed up the whole joke. See? That's what you get when you don't pay. A picture is not worth 1,000 words. A picture is worth $1,000, okay? When you can show them, either through MLS comps or your own comps or whatever, pictures, data, stuff like that, then you're going to be in a position to where they will understand intuitively what you're saying is true. That will help you. So you're showing them the data and selling them on the fact that they need to do this so they can avoid this negative outcome. Okay? You want to find somebody with a huge motivation. Remember, you're looking for somebody who's unrealistic. As a listing agent, if you wanted to list your home with me where you live today, then you'd have to be willing to go ahead and sell your home at 94% of value. Fair market value, pay me 6%, 94% of value. Do you have any concept of just how hard that really is? Finding somebody who's willing to pay, or I'm sorry, willing to take 94% of value is not easy, okay? You got to understand that if there's 3,000 homes being sold in my multiple listing service, then that's, 3,000 so-called reasonable people. Now what you're looking for is the unreasonable guy. The guy who's got 65% of value, or whatever your number is that you're gunning for, he's got to be willing to forego everything. So you're looking for the unreasonable guy. I'm not saying stupid, I'm just saying unreasonable. For whatever reason, something's happened, they need to move now, here you are, boom. Sell them on the benefits of using your service. Mr. Seller, I understand. If you want fair market value, I am not your guy. That's not my job. I'm like a pawn shop. That's something that people can really understand. Intuitively, they know that when they go to a pawn shop with Mom's Jewelry, it's worth $100. They're going to get 50, 60 bucks. They know that. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand you want fair market value. I understand what you think is, what you want, but the reality is that's not what I do. My business is more like a pawn shop. I pay all the closing costs, I take it as is, I close when you want, okay, I give you everything you want, but it can't be at your price. And if that's what you want, then I'm your guy. But if you want this fair market stuff, or you want full price or whatever, I'm not your guy. All right? Yes, now obviously, because I'm an agent, yes, I am that guy, and I can help them with that too. That's an entirely different discussion. But for most of you who are watching this, you're a wholesaler, and you can't really provide that service. Okay? So don't even bother with it. Just be real with them and say, listen, I'm not your guy. That's the selling part of this, because what you're really selling is convenience. Okay? Honestly, they could do the same thing with anybody else. In fact, they probably called 4 or 5 of their wholesalers before you got there. They got a couple dozen yellow letters. They've driven to Walmart and they've seen a couple signs, and they might have called a couple other people. But the thing that they're going to sell, the thing they're going to buy from you, is the convenience of getting this problem, this unreasonableness out of my life right away on my timeline. Yes, I know I'm not going to be able to pay closing costs or whatever, but I'm not going to get what I want, but at least the problem's gone. For some people, that's what they want. So show and sell. That's S. Next, tie down. Okay? Tie down. All right? Because you have to make a decision. Yes, no, either way is fine, but it has to be a decision. Because you can live your entire life on a maybe. You can go through your entire life saying, I think I got this deal, I had a great deal, and the seller said they were excited, and they're going to sign the contract, but they have to talk to their husband or their friend or their cousin or their guru or their voodoo doctor or whatever the heck it is, read the tea leaves, and then they're going to get back to me. And whenever my agents come to talk to me in this office, and you can see it here, I've got 4 or 5 agents that work a call down the hall. When they come into me and they say, hey, Carl, guess what? We were taking a listing this last week. And I said, great, what did you take? And they said, well, it's a listing on such and such thing. Great, where's the paperwork? Oh, well, they said that they're going to get back to me. Ha! If I heard that, if I had a dime for every time I heard that, I wouldn't need to be doing this video. Okay? The reality is, I'd be on like a a mountaintop somewhere with robes, and people would be coming up to me to listen to the wisdom of the ages. But the truth is, the only thing that counts is a decision. Either they will say yes or they will say no. Either way is fine. Okay? If they say no problem. Everything's answer, no problem. We got mold, no problem. We got a sex offender, no problem. We got the house burned down, no problem. Hey, we don't want to like your price. We don't want to sell it to you. No problem. What price would work for you? Just be real. Just be honest with them. Well, if my price doesn't work, well, what price will work? You tell me. Well, hell's bells. We do it for $5,000 or more. Now you've got something to talk about. It's back over the Cracker Barrel again. You're sitting there talking it out. That's the way people used to do business back in the day. That's what people are used to. That's what people like. They like that human interaction. And all you guys doing, sending out all these mass emails, $10 down, $1 down, 100 at a time, 65% of value. All this stuff that you're sending out in mass is killing you. Because it's the presentation of it. When you send it to me, as an agent, as an REO agent, I look at that, I don't even know what it is. It's $1 down. I don't have time for that nonsense. You're sending it over in a 2-3 page contract that I've never seen. It's not a state-approved contract. I'm not going to pay any attention to it. Why? Because you didn't present it. You didn't call me up, hey Carl, listen, I want to make an offer on this house, but I don't really know how. How do I go about this? Maybe you're as dumb as a post. Maybe you know everything. I don't know. But you're telling me I want to buy a house. How do I go about it? Well, okay, this is what you got to do. I have a legal responsibility to help you now. But when you just send over mass offers, well, then obviously, yes, it's going to get deleted. Same thing with your sellers. If you approach everybody like if every problem, I think they said, is a nail, if your only tool is a hammer, then every problem is a nail. If your only tool is MAO, maximum allowable offer, ARV, if that's your only tool, then every problem is a nail. Even the screws. I'm telling you, there's more than one way to solve a problem, but you have to be open-minded. Lead in, investigate, show and sell, tie down, make a decision. Yes, no. Either way, if it's a no, go home. Who cares? It doesn't make a difference, because if you, generate, you don't have to tolerate. That's right. Why? Because skill number 1 is time management. Skill number 2 is prospecting. On the way home, you're out there putting up your bandit signs. I don't know, but you're getting extra leads in, and you don't care. It doesn't matter anymore if they take it or not. Now, of course, you want to follow up with them, but that is presentation, okay? You have to understand that. Now, thank you for watching. I'm trying to keep them short. Thanks.